Hey guys, Kevin in for The Flash, Season 2, Episode 6, Enter Zoom. And I was definitely looking forward to this episode. Just from the title, I was interested. Why? Because Zoom. Zoom has been built up to be this villain that is so much more powerful than the Flash, and that the Flash can't take down so easily. And I was definitely interested in seeing how that was going to be in this episode. I have to say, this was by far the best episode of the season. One, it was the one I was the most into, but two, it has everything I want an ideal Flash episode to have. It had some really great interactions between characters. It had some really funny moments, and it had some really intense stuff, and a really awesome twist as well. I overall really love this episode. Um, Definitely some stuff I was really looking forward to. And let's just get into this episode. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about, but let me just say right off the bat that Linda, I would really like to become a main character after this episode. She fits into the team really well, and a lot of this episode focuses around her, surprisingly, which I definitely really love. So let's just get in this episode. So we start off on a battle between the Flash and Dr. Light, in which Dr. Light quickly gets the upper hand and then repeatedly batters him with her powers, stealing the logo off his chest and leaving. So, in a cell in the pipeline, Dr. Light begs Barry to let her go into hiding. He wants her to know how to find Zoom, and she says that she was supposed to throw something through the breach to signal Zoom, and then he would come to collect the body. So, basically, we don't know what's going on in the scene. Why are they fighting? We don't know. We find out later. So, Wells, too, thinks that he knows a way to stop Zoom by blasting him with a weapon, and he wants Cisco to design as a delivery device for an anti-speed serum. Now that Cisco's vibe, they're definitely using it to their advantage, because Cisco is not just the guy that comes up with names and makes weapons. He does a lot more than that, and now they're really trying to use him. So, he wants him to design this delivery device for an anti-speed serum, and Joe agrees, but after Barry leaves, Joe tells Cisco and Caitlin that he really does not trust Wells at all, and they really think he's hiding something, and they don't know what it is. So Joe asks Cisco to vibe on Wells, because clearly there's something he's hiding. They can't tell what it is. There's more that's going on with him, and I really like this. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is the same thing, but it really is not. This Wells is a lot different than Eobard Thawne. This Wells is very cocky. He seems very angry a lot. He's a lot different than the Wells we came to know. And he's not really charming at all, and I definitely like seeing that with this character. So, we also get some really great flashbacks this episode to Earth 2. He's yelling at someone over the phone when his daughter comes in, and her name is Jessie. I don't know why I thought she was Linda. She looks like Linda, but she's not Linda. Her name is indeed Jessie, and she's here to ask if it's really true that the particle accelerator created the metahumans, and she wants to know if her dad really is doing this, and she doesn't understand why her father hated Jay, whom she thinks is a hero. She doesn't think the Flash is doing anything wrong, and he tries to give her some platitudes to justify his behavior. She leaves upset. She doesn't think that he should be doing these horrible things. This is, the Flash. The Flash hasn't really done anything bad in this world, and he's seen as this hero, and it's very interesting to see what relationship Wells and the Flash have juxtaposed to our world with Eobard Thawne and the Flash. Very much the same. I really like that. Well, not very much the same, but, it's definitely close to kind of what we saw last year. So at the Central State Police Department, Patty's excited about an idea she has on how to find Dr. Light, but Joe tells her that there's no need because the case is closed, and he won't explain why. And he's being kind of very uptight and very stuck, and very just short-tempered. He's really not letting her talk a lot. And Barry comes to see her as Joe leaves, and the two flirt. And I love this scene between Patty and Barry. They're getting so close. Patty tells Barry that she doesn't remember what a kiss feels like, and she'd like to be remembered. It's a really sweet scene. I really like these two together. Really great stuff there, and they're one of my favorite parts of the show, really. They're quickly becoming one of my favorite parts of the show. So at this Central City Picture News, Linda asks Iris about the metahuman who killed Larkin. Obviously, she wants to know what's going on there, and she wants to talk to the Flash and wants to help apprehend Dr. Light, and Iris says that she'll talk to him, but that the Flash has everything under control. So, it's not her that can really do anything, but the Flash is the one that's going to make the decision. So, and obviously, Linda does not know that Barry is the Flash, and that's a problem that Iris is worried about, because this could be really bad for Linda. Telling Linda, that could be a really bad situation, but definitely it's something that needed to happen. So Cisco heads to the pipeline to bring Dr. Light her food, but she's used her powers to become invisible, stripped her clothes, and is escaping. Dr. Light seems like she's kind of always 2 steps ahead of them, which is awesome. I really like that. So at Star Labs, Barry's upset that Light is gone. The team is all disagreeing on what to do. Barry's determined to find a way to finish the plan they already have, while Joe tries to convince him to change the plan and incorporate Jay, which Jay is not in this episode. I like that they actually explained why Jay was not here, because Jay's not here, but Barry's saying that they don't need him. One, because he knows that him and Wells clash. I think it's a good idea for Jay to stay away, because we know that these two are going to clash and they're both going to act as like a mentor for Barry, and Barry doesn't want that. He wants to use Wells, see how he is, and then if he needs to bring in Jay. He wants to use Jay kind of like as a last result, which I can understand. I mean, this is something that Jay might not be able to handle as well, definitely. So, basically, in Cisco's lab, he tries and fails to get a vibe on Wells, who calls him out on it. I mean, he is so pissed at me. He's yelling at him. He's asking him, "Why are you vibing on me? What do you want to know about me?" I mean, he is, like, really pissed off. And he then flashes back to a day that a metahuman attacked his daughter's college and kidnapped her. I mean, really intense stuff, but I like finding out what Wells has been through. It's showing maybe why he's so aggravated and why he has this anger that he does. So, at the police department, Patti admits to Joe that she and Barry kissed. She's worried he isn't happy about it, but he says no, because she thought that Joe was being the way he was because of Barry, and she tries to coax some information out of him. He doesn't give her anything. He still seems kind of annoyed, even though he says, I'm not unhappy, he still seems kind of annoyed. Maybe it's because he thinks Patty's a distraction to Barry, which I can understand. We know what happened between Barry and Linda last season, but then we see that Barry goes to see Linda at Iris's house. He and Iris can code a plan to use her as bait by pretending she's Dr. Light. And also, again, I loved this independent Iris that was basically like, look, I have connections to the Flash, but it's his decision what I'm going to do. It doesn't involve me, and I like seeing that with Iris. I mean, again, she's very, very strong this season. So here, he and Iris can code a plan to use her as bait by pretending she's Dr. Light, and Iris takes her to Star when Barry comes out dressed as the Flash to make the pitch, and later they're setting up a trap for Zoom, including using Dr. Light's weapons to create dummy blasters for Linda, and they have a lower yield in terms of power. She's bad at using them, taking out a number of, well, actually, she does know that Barry is the Flash here. But then we see that they're setting up a trap for Zoom, including using Dr. Light's weapons to create dummy blasters for Linda. They have a lower yield in terms of power, and she's pretty bad at using them. She's not very good at it, and she's taking out a number of the raw dummies and obstacle course that they set up for her. At one point, they even short out and start to burn. I mean, it's clear that Linda doesn't really know what she's doing. So eventually, she does get the hang of the use of using the powers and using them correctly. And then Barry's ready to go. Everyone except Barry and Wells hate the idea, but Barry is fixated. He really is passionate that this is going to work, while everyone's saying, oh, no, 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 Zoom is far too powerful for this. This is different than the Reverse Flash, and this is very interesting. The scene between Joe and Barry, I really loved it, because Joe talks about how Barry's acting like this is the Reverse Flash, and that he's going right back after him, and that, this is very much the same sort of situation. And he says, he accused Barry going after Zoom so aggressively to overcompensate for the way things went with the Reverse Flash, and Barry isn't happy about it. He's saying this is way different, this is not how it's going at all, and he needs to understand that. So he goes to Linda's house as the Flash, and when she says she can't do it, he gives her a pep talk. When she intimidates him, he doesn't know. He unmasks for her, and I love that scene. I mean, again, she didn't know that this was Barry. Her reaction, though, she had to know. She had to know, because Barry just felt it was time she knew. If you're going to be part of the team, you need to know everything. So she now knows, and that scene where she's like, I kissed the Flash, I mean, that was a pretty big scene. I definitely really like that, because, Linda's really coming to realization that, holy shit, this guy that I've known all this time is the Flash, and I love that scene. So Cisco then thanks Wells for his help. Then there's a spill, and when the two both rush to clean up, they touch. Vibe sees Zoom interrogating Jessie in her cell, and this really shows that this is most likely what Wells has gone through. I mean, Zoom has Jessie, and it's really hurting Wells, and he's probably taking out his aggression on them. That very much is what's going on there, and I definitely like seeing that with Wells as a character. I think it definitely makes his character very interesting. So at the police department, Patty goes to see Joe about Dr. Light again. She tells him that he's not being honest with her and she's not happy about it. And after he leaves saying he needs a few days, she asks Barry to dinner, and Barry says he has plans with Joe. So he asked her to dinner tomorrow, and she says yes, but is clearly very suspicious. Because like I said, Patty's gonna eventually find out something is going on here. Because you can just tell that there's something going on. He keeps making excuses, and that's if that becomes a consistent thing, she definitely is gonna start to find out what's going on. I mean, she's not stupid. She's gonna have to find out that there's something going on eventually, and obviously, Barry doesn't want to tell her because he just doesn't really know if he can trust her right now and if she's going to be able to keep that secret. Because we know how Patty reacts to these sort of things and she kind of fangirls out. So, she could end up telling people about it, and that obviously is a problem. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But I like that they're going from this. I think it definitely is very interesting. So that night, the battle from the start of the episode plays out just like before, including Light taking him down and taking his logo, although this time it's a bit less convincing until they get into their groove. Which I like seeing that this fight was actually staged. It wasn't real. And the scene where she's like really over the top, it was really funny. I mean, they were making fun of the cheese. I definitely realized she's like, "Come on, Flash," and it didn't seem convincing. It was really funny. She yells to Zoom that she did what he wanted and throws the logo into a breach. And when nothing happens after an hour, Barry gets up and the team starts to pack it in. They don't think it's going to go well. Wells is pissed. He's knocking things around with his gun, and Barry misses Joe that there was something about the reverse flash. And Wells finally told, he talks about how Wells told Barry on that tape that he still wins because Barry will never be happy. And ever since he didn't save his mother, he says there's been a void in him that's always going to be there, and he's never going to be able to get rid of it. And I can understand. I mean, this is something that he's always wanted to do. He always wanted to save his mother, and now he knows that he possibly can't. And Joe tells him to forget about all of it, and that Barry's responsible for his own happiness. He tells him to choose what he wants, and Barry acknowledges him, but doesn't seem to really be listening. Like, he seems interested in what Joe is saying, but he doesn't really seem like he's, he's definitely focused on other things. So at the police department, Barry approaches Patti, who's watching a video on her phone. He ignores it and kisses her. The two decide they should get to know each other more, and this is going to be a really good thing and a really bad thing. Like I said, she is definitely on to Barry. You can tell that she's starting to get suspicious of what's going on here. So at the picture news, Linda's sitting at her desk when Iris brings the two of them beer. She's bummed that she can't write a story about everything that's happened the last few days because, of course, she can't tell everyone that Barry's the Flash. I mean, it's just not a good idea, and this is really why I'd like Linda become a main character. I think she'd be a very interesting struggle here. And Iris tells her that you never get used to it. The two of them get ready to leave, and of course, Iris has to just deal with it. Iris is in this place where she's like, you know what, it's hard, but you have to deal with it. You have to understand you can't tell anyone, and it's, you really want to, but you can't do that because obviously it's not safe. And the two of them get ready to leave. As Linda leaves the office, she finds herself face to face with Zoom, who grabs her and vanishes. And I know a lot of people complain this episode that we saw Zoom for 2 minutes. Now, let me bring you guys back to something. Do you guys remember last year in episode 6 where we saw Reverse Flash? We knew absolutely nothing about him. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All we knew is that Reverse Flash was after Flash, and that was it. And that's basically all we know about Zoom. We don't know who Zoom is. We don't know why he's there. We don't know what he wants. We don't know anything. And I like that. I like the mystery hidden. So people need to stop saying Zoom is a terrible villain because we've only seen him for like 3 minutes in this episode, which I really liked. I like the way that the show builds things up. Iris sees it happen and runs after her screaming, and at Star Labs, Barry gets a call as Wells' sensors start to go off. Zoom has Linda on the roof, he holds her over the edge and then drops her, and Zoom was pretty fucking terrifying, I have to tell you guys. He was pretty scary, definitely. Barry saves her by running to the ground, creating an updraft. Zoom comes down to face him, and the two stand in front of the building, and Barry runs a giant circle around Star, building up enough energy to throw lightning at Zoom. Zoom dodges it, grabs it, and throws it back at Barry, and this was really interesting. I mean, the way that he was just able to throw the lightning back, I mean, that's something we've never seen before with any of these, metahumans, and a lot of people are saying, well, if Zoom is so powerful, why didn't he send out all these metahumans? Why? Because he has a very well executed plan that we don't know about yet. Clearly, there's something he wants to do, and we're gonna find out what's going on there. So Wells heads outside with his gun. Barry has the serum in his hand, taunts Zoom again to chase him. Barry gets to the top of the building and jumps off, taking Zoom's speed out of the equation by effectively making both of their speed terminal velocity. It doesn't work, and Zoom is about to kill Barry when Wells shoots Zoom. He misses though, and Zoom hits Barry with the dart, then turns to Wells and says that he's next, and he brings Barry powerless and bloodied to the Picture News office and then to the police department to taunt them, and a hail of bullets at the police station are caught and discarded. Then Zoom takes Barry and leaves, and finally Zoom heads to Star Labs where he confronts Wells, and he unmasks Barry, then stabs him with his claws, and he's about to kill Barry, and Cisco blasts him with a speed dampening serum, but all it does is cause Zoom to run. So, some really interesting stuff here. The biggest question right now is who is Zoom? Now, I'm definitely starting to come up with this theory that Eddie is Zoom. I mean, think about it. We have yet to see Eddie in Earth 2. It's gonna happen. He's in Earth 2. He's alive. He's not dead. It would probably make sense since Wells is not, evil. Eddie has to be evil. There has to be an Eobard Thawne. So I'm thinking that Eddie is Eobard Thawne, and he's the one that is Zoom right now, or it really is Barry. That could be really interesting. If Barry's fighting himself, and this is actually Barry in Earth 2, very interesting stuff here. I like that we know nothing about him, but clearly Zoom is more powerful than Barry. Like, he's able to hurt Barry. Especially at the end of this episode, we can really see what kind of damage he can do to Barry. I mean, the ending of this episode is truly pretty terrifying, I have to say. Because Barry's in a hospital bed later, and Joe's ready to take Wells' hand off when Cisco asks who Jessie is. And Wells reveals he's only there to capture Zoom, not to hurt Barry. But he can see that Barry can't help him with what he wants because Barry's very weak right now. So, obviously, Wells wants to catch Zoom, and I like that we're starting to realize Wells' true colors here. He's not there to hurt Barry. He's there to help his daughter. That's why he's there, and he needs their help for that. So, later Barry wakes up and asks about Linda, who's staying with friends in Coast City, and Barry tries to get up, but the team won't let him, and he realizes that he can't feel his legs, and that's how the episode ends. So not only did Zoom basically make Barry Professor X, but now he's made him weakened. And I don't know if Barry's going to have like Professor X. I don't know if Barry's going to be in a wheelchair, but Zoom seriously weakened Barry, and this is definitely going to be very interesting. The biggest question now is who the hell is Zoom? Who is Zoom? Why is he going after Barry? These are things that I want to know that we don't know yet, and I like that we don't know that stuff. Definitely very interesting. Linda, obviously, it's not safe for her. Obviously, Dr. Light, is Linda, and obviously Zoom is going to think that Linda is Dr. Light, and the only way to protect her is to get her the hell out of there. But I do think that eventually they're going to need to use her. We're going to have to see what happens there. They need to use Jay, okay? This is something where they're going to have to use Jay, and I don't think that went through Barry's mind because obviously he can't think straight. He's in this fight with Zoom, and he doesn't know who Zoom is and why this is happening. Very interesting stuff there. Wells. I like that we're finding out Wells' true colors. Do you think he's gonna get his daughter back? I hope he does. I mean, I hope for his sake, definitely, his daughter's out there and he can help her out. Definitely, that's something that we need to see, what's going on there. But, does he still have Jessie? I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. But, Joe is ready to kill Wells, but I like that Cisco is trying to figure out what's going on there. And definitely, Cisco and Wells need to have a definite conversation about what's going on there, because obviously he does tell Wells that he, did vibe on him. So definitely, the more vibes he does, I think the more clues we're going to get. Zoom is someone that I don't think Cisco's going to be able to ever vibe on, obviously. He's very powerful. He's clearly there for one reason, that's to kill Barry, and that's what he wants to do. So I think it definitely is very interesting. I know people are like, well, why did he take Linda? Why did he take Linda to subdue Barry? Because he knew that would make Barry want to go after him, and that's exactly what he did. Zoom is very smart with that. He clearly is very smart with his plan. We just don't know what it is yet, and I like that. I don't want to know what his plan is yet. Definitely very interesting. Now, next week, it looks like Grodd is back, and I don't know if Grodd is working for Zoom. I'm not sure. We know that Grodd is still out there. They've made it known several times. Oh, I forgot to say, guys, this was such a big moment. We got one little piece of information this episode that didn't seem important, but I feel is going to be important. We find out that in Earth 2, Oliver is actually dead and his father is the Arrow. So that's really interesting because eventually they're going to have to face the people from Earth 2 and Earth 1. I definitely feel like Earth 2 they have to collaborate with Earth 1 and they're going to have to collaborate to basically go after Zoom. So if we find out that his father is the Arrow and they need the actual Arrow, I mean this could get awesome, guys. We know that an Arrow Flash crossover is coming up. In fact, it's coming up in 2 episodes. After the Gorilla Grodd episode is going to be the Flash Arrow crossover, which is awesome. I love that. I can't wait for that. But overall, guys, amazing episode. By far the best episode of the season. I absolutely loved it. Also, let's talk about Joe. Does Joe trust Wells? I mean, obviously, I don't think he buys into what Wells is doing. I think Joe wants to, but I don't think he does. We'll have to see what happens with that. But Patti as well also is definitely starting to get suspicious of Barry. She can tell he's hiding something. She doesn't know what it is, and she's destined to find out. So we'll have to see what happens with that as well. Well, that is my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you guys saw this episode. Like I said, best episode of the season. I will see you guys next week, which will be for Ain't a Shield, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.